show off your forehead. No, it's
It's my halo.
It's his halo.
Okay, let's leave the halo in. Never mind.
So, first thing is just tell us your name and how you got connected to Heart to Heart.
My name is Curtis Moore, and I got connected with Heart to Heart through Bayside State Prison. I was a student of Heart to Heart in Bayside State Prison.
And we're going to need a little more volume. Can you say the same thing, just a little louder?
My name is Curtis Moore, and I got connected with Heart to Heart through Bayside State Prison. I was actually a student in Bayside State, in the Heart to Heart in Bayside State Prison.
And maybe just tell us a little, Curtis. You don't have to tell us the whole story you said tonight, but maybe some pieces, if you want to, of just maybe you talk about being at Bayside State Prison. So maybe before, what led up to that, during, what choices you made, and then after. And maybe not, maybe we don't have time for the whole, 30-minute story, but maybe just a few minutes. Tell us something about before, during, and after.
Well, before, I was gang affiliated. I sold drugs. I ran the streets, and 7 days before my 19th birthday, that life came to a crashing end when I took a life, and I was standing before a judge facing 30 years to life for taking a life. So, but while in prison, I knew that that's not something that I wanted to do for the rest of my life. That I know change. I wanted change, so I just began to work with myself. Got back in contact with my, built relationships with my family, started a relationship with God, and now I'm a changed man. I work for the Urban Leader Essex County. I own the founder and CEO of Save One Youth Foundation. I'm an author, and that's where I'm at today.
Can someone open the door?
I think she'll hear Bob.
Yeah.
Bob thing. Bob? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
And just tell us a little bit about what it was like for you in Heart to Heart. Did you meet anyone there? Did you hear anyone? What was that experience at all like for you?
Curtis, if you can sit up straight like that, sometimes you lean back and the light's bouncing off.
Okay.
Good, thanks.
The experience was different, because I did a lot of programs while I was in prison for 13 years. A lot of programs, but Heart to Heart is more so like it's personal. It's not a job. They come in and they speak to you, and it's like it's personal to us. Their personal mission to connect with other human beings and just really trying to make a difference in those human beings' lives. Let those human beings know and feel that they do matter. That even though you're incarcerated, that the society, that there's people still in society that still care. So that was my experience with Heart to Heart, that I wasn't forgotten about.
And you told us something when we met you on the inside. You told us that you had a particular dream, that you cared about young people and you want to make a difference. You remember what you told us, and how have you lived that out?
Well, yeah, one of my passions and dreams I always want to do is work with or work for young people. And that's exactly what I do now. I work for young people. Like, I try to steer them in a direction from the direction that I went in, for making the same type of choices. Letting them know that my story don't have to be your story. That you can be better. There's possibilities out there. Opportunities, but it's up to you to seize those moments.
Curtis, can you tell us that sequence with your mother crying on the you two in the corner? That kind of seemed like a turning point.
Well, it wasn't really a turn, not for me anyway. But when I was 15 years old, my mother just signed me out of the juvenile detention center, and I left her standing on Park Avenue and 5th Street crying, and because as soon as I signed out of the youth house, I was on my way back to the block to where my boys was at, and my mother asked me where I was going. I told her I was going back to the block, and she asked me if this was the type of lifestyle I planned on living for the rest of my life, and I told her yeah, and she told me with tears in her eyes that if this is the choice that I'm making, to live my life as I was living it, then by the time I was 18 to 19, I either be dead or facing a lot of time in prison. And 7 days before my 19th birthday, I was facing 30 years to life for murder. So it was, in that moment, it didn't really matter to me. It didn't really, when you caught up in that lifestyle, you don't have no empathy. It's all about you. It's all about what matters to you. You don't worry about the next person. So in that moment, it didn't matter, but it did matter to me when I got locked up and she brought it back up to me. And my past, my future all flashed before me, and I was in it. I was in prison 30 years, you know what I mean? Well, facing 30 years, and I was in it. So.
And you've talked about Heart to Heart, not as much as an organization, that's not the most important thing, it's something else. What is that something else that Heart to Heart really is? It's about people relating heart to heart, that's what it's really all about. How would you?
Heart to Heart,
What is that?
to me, the Bible speaks about Jesus being the firstborn amongst many to come. And heart to heart are those people that are many to come. They are an example. Philippians 2:5 say, "Let this mind be in you that was also in Jesus Christ." And people that's involved with heart to heart are a representation of God's kingdom, because to me that's what heart to heart is about. It shows you the core of what God is, which is love, and to me that's why I feel so connected with heart to heart, and why so many people want to get on board with heart to heart. Why heart to heart is, even though it's a small entity, it's so big, because it's God is in it. God is in it. And people recognizing it, because the Bible also say that if you don't know that I am God, just look at the creation. Look at the creation. And no matter where it is, God is there. And that's just what heart to heart represents to me. Like the people in heart to heart, they really represent exactly what the kingdom of heaven is supposed to emulate, and that's love. So that's my experience with heart to heart. So.
Is there anything else you want us to know?
I think God is proud of us. I think He's well pleased. For the simple fact that we are doing His work. This generation that we live in, we consider God to be dead. Most of us consider God to be dead because of the wars and what's going on in ISIS, what's going on in our communities, different things like that. We consider, they look at that and say, God is dead. Where's God in all that? But God is alive, and I'm just happy and proud. I'm just happy and feel blessed to know, to have that relationship, to know and understand that God is alive. And a lot of people don't understand like that. When you lose that connection, the Bible tells us that if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, seek thy face and turn from our wicked ways, then and only then should I hear from heaven. It starts with self. It starts with self. And even in the Quran, it says the same thing, but not so much so in those words, but it says that Allah will not change the condition of His people unless His people first change the condition within themselves. It's all connected. It's all the same thing. And if we realize that everything is just one big pie, but each of us have a piece from that pie. As long as if you put all those pieces back to that one pie, it's all the same thing. We're all in the same struggle.
You're even saying more, I'm hearing. It's not just that we're all in the same struggle. You're saying there's a oneness.
It's a oneness.
There's a oneness among all of us. That's even more than just we're doing something together. We're doing something as one. We're going through something as one. But we don't see it.
We don't see it. We don't see it. So.
And you talk about God being alive. And one way I know God's alive is when people incarnate God's presence, when people enflesh God's presence. And you told me something about a woman who called you needing help recently. Can you tell us that story of that person and how that person enfleshed maybe something of God, maybe God's forgiveness?
That's it was a situation where a young lady, she needed help. Well, she reached out to me via Facebook. She inboxed me and said that she needed to talk to me. I didn't even respond to it because there's people out there that I'm like, who was this lady? I didn't know who she was. But a couple of months after that, she inboxed me again on Facebook and asked me if I can help her get a job. And she sent me her number and everything. I called her and I said, yeah, I can help you get a job. You come to the Herbal League, I'll help you get a job. So she came to the job to my company that day, and I called a friend. And she landed the job. Then she reached back out to me and said that she needed $40 to get a uniform for the job. So in my mind of minds, I'm thinking like, come on, just help you get a job. Now you asking me for $40, like, come on, like, what's going on? But the Bible also tells us, be careful who we offend, because we never know if we entertain the angels. And I told her to meet me at the bank. I gave her $40, and as she was walking off, she told me, she said, I forgive you. And I'm confused. I'm like, you forgive me? Like, what, do I know you from somewhere? And she's like, yeah, you really don't know me. I mean, you really don't remember me, do you? And I'm like, no, I don't remember you. And she was like, I'm Erica. You killed my father. And it's just an overwhelming feeling came over me. And we just stood on the corner and we just both just held each other, just cried. Because I think we both of us needed that. We both needed that. And she just hugged me and started crying. She just said, yo, I forgive you. She said, I forgive you. She says, I'm in the church now and I forgive you. So, that right there, that's just a small example of showing you that God is alive. Like, God is love, God is forgiveness, God is everything, So that right there, attests to the fact that God is alive. That everybody's heart is not wax cold. It's those elect people that still exist in the earth. So that's it.
You never heard from her again?
And I haven't heard from her since. And
is there anything else?
That's it.
It didn't appear those lights affected.
I didn't see the veterans.
Good.
Okay, yeah.
On the screen.
I hear it was the way off.